welcome. So today I'm going to be doing a compilation, let's call it a compilation, of paranormal witness accounts from the Shoalhaven, because that's where I am, the Shoalhaven. And look at this great shape. Human Haters Club. Okay, so they're all going to be made anonymous, so I might give them cover names, I might not. Okay, but I will give the specifics of age and location and all of that. Okay, so I'm going to be doing a series of these because I had so many. I had a really overwhelming response, so I do want to include everyone's. Okay, so we'll just get through a few today. Okay, these first two, I guess, I don't really know what to specify them as. So the first one, there was actually a group of 4 witnesses, and their ages were between 18 to 20. So they were actually males. Okay, so the night started out at the Postman's Tavern, which is a pretty well-known pub in Yarra. Okay, so they'd been drinking and having a great time. They left just after midnight, and they went in a northbound direction towards the bridge. Okay, so as they're walking along Bridge Street, they get to the end where you should kind of start to see the bridge in the distance, and they noticed that the scenery was completely different. There was bush, there was no council chambers, there was no bridge, and they were like, what the fuck? Right, so all 4 of them experienced this, and they were like, well, shit, what the hell? What do we do? So they decided they were going to turn around and go back. So they turned around and they went back in the direction of the Postman's Tavern, and one of them actually looked back over the shoulder, and everything was back to normal. The bridge was there, council chambers was there, everything was there. So I don't know what you want to call that, whether that's, I don't know. I really don't know. And there's actually a similar one from over the valley. This is actually taken from a man in his 60s who was younger, I assume, at the time. So his wife, who is now separated from, was with him for this. They were on the road that the Kangaroo Valley tip is on. And I'm not sure whereabouts they had been or what the story is. They possibly might have lived up there. Anyways, they were coming from that road down into the township. And as they got down into the township was completely different. It was old school. It was completely different. So yeah, they as well were a little bit like, what the fuck? And the bridge was there. I must add, in this, the Kangaroo Valley, the Hampton Bridge was there. Okay, so it wasn't that far back. But yeah, bit discombobulating. And then they continued down the road. They got to where the Kangaroo Valley Cemetery is, decided to turn back and go in the same direction. And when they went back, it was completely back to normal. Right. Okay, so now a different type of thing. Okay. So there's actually quite a lot of documentation that you can look up about this. So we have several lighthouses down here that have cool stories and things like that. But the St. Cape George, I always say it wrong, the broken lighthouse, the one that was built in the wrong spot. That one, there's so many deaths on record, but it's not the deaths that I'm going to actually talk about. It's so many locals have actually seen this too. There's a ghost ship, a legit ghost ship. And you can actually look up the records for, there's been so many shipwrecks in that area. Okay, so yeah, you can actually see a ghost ship occasionally. And I haven't really looked at, the dates of when people see it or whatever to figure out whether it only appears on significant dates or not. So that's something I'll look into later. But the Cape St. George Lighthouse ghost ship. Okay, it's not just an urban legend. It's for real. Yeah, there's records. Okay, so this next one that I'm going to talk about The female witness of this was actually really, really, really embarrassed. Okay, so she was in her mid-20s at the time, had two witnesses with her. She had a friend and she had a boyfriend with her. They were at Nelson's Beach at Vincennia. Okay, so it was after dark. I'm not exactly sure on the exact time, but it was after dark. I think it was about 10 p.m. And they were walking down to the beach, and the beach was quite illuminated. Okay, it wasn't a full moon, but the moon must have been bright enough that there was light. Okay, so they could see this figure, a very big figure, but it kind of looked humanoid, and it was crouched down at the water's edge. And it kind of creeped them out a little bit, just because, you know, like, oh God, there's someone else here. Shit. I don't know what they were up to either down at the beach. But anyway, so they stopped and they were watching, and then this figure actually stood up and was huge and covered in hair. I won't say fur, hair. And it wasn't thick hair, it was like sparse hair, so patchy hair or whatever. But this creature was huge. Okay, and they shit themselves. The creature actually turned around and looked at them. It shit itself and it took off into the bush. Okay, so they were really shaken up by it, as you would be. And there's a similar story from West Narra. A couple of guys, this was before the uni was actually built out at West Narra, but it was out towards where the uni was. They were actually driving along the road, and they passed this huge, hairy, humanoid creature running backwards, and they believe that he was probably running between 80 to 100 kilometres an hour. And they decided that they were going to come back and try and chase it, and they could not find it. So, I'm not sure, by the description, I'm not actually sure whether that's a Dulagar or whether that's something completely different. So, we'll leave that open. There's the Black Panther, and there are so many witness accounts of this, and you can find a lot of them online. There are some online. Okay, so there's the Black Panther of Kangaroo Valley, and I know that the Blue Mountains and other places, they've got the Black Panther as well. Now, there's a couple of different conflicting stories about how the Black Panther got there. I remember my mum telling me as a kid that apparently the US Navy had a Black Panther as a mascot, and it escaped at one point while they were down here, because they always have had a strong presence in Yarra. That's pretty plausible. The other one is that a circus crashed going down the valley and that the panthers escaped. I can't find anything that even correlates with that. But we're never really going to know what the real thing is, okay? So, yeah, we're never really going to know. But yeah, my mum and my uncle actually saw the Black Panther. I wasn't going to use their witness accounts, but I'm going to. When they were, mum was 18, so there was a carload of them. It wasn't just mum and my uncle. And they actually were up in the Highlands somewhere, and they actually saw a Black Panther run down the side of the road. So, yes. Yeah. Okay, I'll leave it at that, guys, and I will do another one in a couple of days. Okay? Peace. And be careful in Yarra. Dodgy things.